Hey, welcome to Tone Talk with Mark Uzansky and Dave Friedman. How's everybody doing tonight? Um, we've got a special guest, Ian Docherty from July Talk. How you doing, Ian?
Pretty great, man.
Good to hear
How
you.
you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Um, okay.
So, what is July Talk? Who's July Talk?
It's
Because here is not as big as in Canada.
yeah, for sure. We're like kind of nobody in the States. Maybe in like the northern part of the States where they get Canadian radio, but other than
Yeah,
that,
it's
haven't
it's
heard much.
it's funny how I found out originally about. Yeah, I'll tell the little story here. So how I originally found out about you guys was a good friend of mine from Detroit, where I'm from. So it's kind of near to you
Yeah.
guys. Knew about you, and he goes, "You got to check this band out, and you got to check the video work that they do."
Right, right.
Because all their, if anyone doesn't know, all the videos are black and white, and they're quite artistic, shall we say, or it's
Yeah,
just
sure.
a statement, and everything has a video, and it's really cool videos, great videos, and so because you got to check these guys out, they're awesome, and this is a guy who was in a legendary Detroit heavy metal band saying that July Talk is awesome. So
Which band was that?
there was in the 80s there's a huge band in Detroit called Seduce.
Oh,
Okay.
right. So,
And they were the largest hard rock metal band in Detroit in the 80s. And they got signed to IRS Records. They did one major label record. The same old record company bullshit story
Sure.
of the label went under and they were supposed to go to another label, but the person at that label that was going to take them in got fired. And
Right. Yeah.
it's like no one's ever heard this story before.
Yeah.
They were in that movie
Decline of the Western
from
Civilization.
Decline and Fall of the Western Civilization.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that old thing from that era.
Yeah.
And so he told me about him. I'm like, oh, I got to check this out. And he likes all sorts of kinds of music, and from anywhere from more alt kind of stuff
Sure.
to heavier stuff, all sorts of stuff. And I checked it out, and I'm like, wow, you're right, they're awesome.
That's amazing. That's
And
really-
and so fast forward, why is Ian on the show tonight? So I'm watching recently a video, a live video of them on YouTube, and I'm sitting there watching, and I look over at the video, and I'm like going, no shit, he's got one of my amps.
That makes it even better.
And I'm like going, okay, wait, I got to contact him.
yeah.
So we reached out to you on Instagram, and we had a little conversation, and that's why he's here tonight.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was so happy when you reached out. Such a fan of the show.
I was going to say,
I mean, that's super cool, and it was just weird. I mean, literally sitting there going, "Hey, look!"
how was it when Dave reached out to you about just him using the amp and stuff? Since you were you guys never talked before, right? So that must have been pretty surreal.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I
was
called him.
shitting my pants a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. This is the best. Because I love that amp. My God, it's amazing.
So you have the Dirty Shirley? Is that what you have?
Yeah, I have the Dirty Shirley Mini.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so let's talk about your setup.
Yeah, it's, I mean, like we were saying last night, it's a wet, dry, wet, which I love having that set up. But I do it maybe a little bit different than some people do. Maybe not a lot of people, but I run it. Everything goes into my Hot Rod Deluxe. So, like, drive pedals go into there, fuzz pedals go into the front of that. Then it comes out the effects return into my pedal board and splits off so that only a dry signal comes back to that deluxe. It stays dry, but its preamp is feeding the other amps so that they get a bit of the dirt and stuff, so that everything kind of melds together. But they're taking all the effects, all the modulations, and the time and all that stuff.
Oh, so you're using the other amps clean?
No, not quite. They have a bit of dirt on them, but not a ton. Like everything's kind of like classic rock sort of vibes.
Oh, so you're almost using the front end of that preamp like a drive pedal.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the amp or whatever, of the other amp. Oh, that's cool.
Because I just smash it with basically just a volume into the front of the Hot Rod Deluxe to get more gain.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, so Ian was also on a Boss ES8 video that I had seen, and obviously you have a relatively elaborate pedal board doing all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit silly with MIDI switching and all kinds of stuff going on.
Nah, that's not silly. I've been doing that all my life.
Yeah, but it's intense. But getting it going is the best thing I ever did. It just made shows so much easier.
Oh, yeah, you just hit presets, and you're like, oh, yeah, great, here we go. Song, program, doom, done.
5 pedals right away.
Yeah.
So simple.
Yeah.
All I have to worry about is keeping the guitar in tune.
And wait, I saw you used, are you using a Yamaha guitar?
Yeah.
One of the old SG kind of things?
Yeah. I love those. Mostly the SG, but I also have like a 335. I forget what they call that model of guitars, but...
Oh, I have one.
Yeah.
I have one on my wall here right now.
I love that guitar. It's so nice and bright and loud.
Yeah, I bought one. I think on eBay or something, or Reverb or something, and someone was selling one for $500, and they had changed the pickups to Seymour Duncan Seth Lovers in it.
Okay.
And I'm like going, and it's $500. I'll take it. The pickups are almost worth that.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
That's true.
And it's an incredibly solid sounding guitar. Like when you smack it, it's like it doesn't feel. There's no git. It's just like solid. That's all I could say. You know.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Super good value if you want a 335e kind of guitar.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Cheap.
Hey, we got a couple of super chats. Dan Pfeiffer.
You have a link for me, Mark?
It's the link I sent you last night.
Oh, it's the same one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just click on it and. Yep. So Dan Pfeiffer said, "Got your super chat money right here," which is thank you. And Justin Espinosa asked, "What drove Ian to the Dirty Shirley Mini?"
I mean, I've been watching just like nerd videos online, like pedal videos. I think it was maybe, oh shit, I can't even remember what it was. Maybe like a Pete Thorne video talking about Friedman stuff. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to find one of these. And there was one shop in Toronto that had Friedman stuff. So I went over, played the Dirty Shirley Mini, and was just sold and just bought it right away.
Yeah. But have you tried other Friedman amps too?
No, I haven't. They're just not really in stores up in Canada that much.
Well, that's what I was going to mention. You're up in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And they might be now. I haven't, to be honest. I've kind of like stopped myself from looking at gear a little bit. I was going crazy for a while.
Good for you. How do you do that? Well, is there a program for that?
There's a 12-step program for that,
exactly.
And it's called Your Wife. No.
Yeah, too.
The bank cut me off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they won't give me credit.
Those are several ways to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, those are several ways.
I've got
I am interrupting this super chat. No, there you go. Well, Dan Pfeiffer, thank you for your money.
Yes. Yeah. If anybody wants to send more super chat, we're happy to take it. By the way, our sponsor is our sponsor is Sweetwater. So make sure you guys go to sweetwater.com. I'll have a link below. If you use that link that I provide, then it provides a little kickback to the channel. So make sure you shop from Sweetwater using that link. And then also please hit subscribe, hit the bell, please. So Ian, tell us about your band. How did it get started?
Like
you know,
it's a 5-piece rock and roll band. You know, to describe it, I guess we were for a while a kind of bluesy bass, but I think we've gotten away from that as we're just getting older and playing different styles. Like the newest album, I would say, is way different. It's a lot more weird, and guitars don't sound like guitars, and stuff sounds like synths, even though it's maybe not, or it is a synth, and like just going to different avenues, trying as much as we can. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe.
Yeah, the you have to check it out, people. The first record had a little more, a little touch of rockabilly in there also.
Sure.
That's not maybe exactly what I want to call it, but there was a little touch of that for sure. Mm-hmm. And the second record had more of a pop sort of element to it, but killer songs, killer drum sounds on that record, the second one.
Yeah.
Like really killing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they were programmed or real, or I don't know what they were, but they sounded great. I didn't care.
All real.
Well, that's good. Cheers to that.
So the band is seems like a super eclectic band with two very unique singers. You have sorry, I'm spacing on the name. Leah and Peter. Yes. Yeah. So Peter sounds like Tom Waits, sort of.
Yeah, he definitely has that.
It's this really deep, growly thing, and then you have her, which is this little angelic little voice.
Yeah, but then she can really growl too on some punky songs. She really goes for it.
Yeah, and the mix of it all is really cool. So, I highly recommend for you guys to go check out a lot of the videos. There's a ton of them, and they're all black and white, and that'll give you a kind of a good idea of what they're about.
That's cool.
Which in Canada, from what I understand, you guys are doing really well.
Yeah, we've definitely done very well up here.
Yeah.
That's
worked out.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you get like radio play?
Win a Juno or something?
Yeah, we've won
second album?
3 Junos.
Oh, okay.
2 Junos. Shit, I don't remember now. 3, I think.
Wow, that's great.
A couple. Yeah, and definitely radio play, probably to the annoyance of a lot of people, but as that goes.
That's
cool. I mean, there's been a long history of Canadian bands that never really had much footing in the U.S. I hope you guys get more.
Yeah, we're hoping
if that's possible now.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the thing.
It's the drive-in tour.
Yeah, we did have a big plan to like really hit that this year, but we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
It could be a drive-in tour.
Yeah, might have to be.
So you're doing a drive-in show in August, we were talking about.
Yeah, August 12th and 13th, which will be insane.
Yeah. That's
just
so cool.
They're driving movie theater.
You know what was funny? We were talking last night when we were doing the test, and we were talking about the drive-in thing, and then just as we were, I got up this morning, I saw that Keith Urban he did it in Nashville last night, and the weird thing that I saw a video of it was that there were people who were sitting on top of their car, outside of their car.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, you're social distanced and you're in the open air. I mean, it's probably fine.
Probably.
Put on that.
It is not much different than going on. I mean, I have right next to my house, I have this bike path that everyone rides and jogs and everything else on. And God, frankly, I don't want to go on it.
Yeah, sometimes they're a bit crazy.
So like a lot of, if I'm going to take my bike out, I avoid that. Let's go down this street and this street and no one will be on them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And certain times too, it tends to get more crowded, probably, right?
Well, I mean, like, like with everyone being home, literally this bike path, I mean, it's literally next to my house, practically a block over, is just completely, it's about a 5-mile run from where it ends to a round trip would be from my house to the end and back would be about 5 miles.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's a great ride.
That's a good
it's
ride.
A great ride on a bike or something. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. So they enacted the a mask thing where you have to wear a mask if you're around anyone out in public. Well, they said in public,
even
but then
outside.
they also kind of said, well, if no one's around, it's okay, but you better have it with you.
That's so vague.
It's kind of vague. Yeah. It's like either wear it all the time or not wear it all the time or something, but that's a little vague. Before that, it was like you could run and bike without it. So now I guess I got to bike with it, and I'm not so happy about that. But hey, you know what? It's okay.
Yeah, that could be worse.
Look at it.
I'll get used to it.
Look at it this way: it'll keep the bugs out of your mouth.
Yeah.
We don't really have a lot of bugs here, Mark. You're in Florida.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We got Insect City over here.
You got insects up the ass in Florida.
That is true.
That's a good point.
And some of those are people.
That's true too. Yeah. Yeah, or we can call them animals, one or the other. But
well,
bugs or animals.
Florida has a special group of inhabitants.
Oh, we call it Florida.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of people that really give your area a bad name.
I know, it's crazy. And they usually start it with only in Florida, and then here comes the video.
I will sort of give a pass to areas like the Keys and like the Gulf side.
Right.
Sort of give a pass for a lot of areas around there, but the rest of the damn state, oh my God.
Yeah, and Central Florida tends to be where a lot of the weirdness really happens. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But so anyway, what's everyone? Justin Espinoza wants to know what's everyone drinking.
Oh well, you have to ask. Huh? Well, okay. So what do you have specifically there, Ian?
A Woodhouse Berry Sour, which is a
look at that
company.
Very plain can.
Yeah, well, they just right now, because everything's all crazy, they're doing limited runs of stuff. So they literally just put it in a generic can and write on what it is every day.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went in and it was like, oh, cool, they've got the berry one again. I'll go for that.
That's nice.
I have a Belvini Caribbean cask strength.
Amazing.
Scotch.
That's a new one. Is that new? Caribbean cask?
No. I just went one up from my normal.
Oh, okay, because the double wood is the
normal.
normal.
It was all the difference of $3. So,
What's the difference in taste on that?
This one's a little stronger, actually.
Oh, okay.
As if it's not strong enough already, but this one's a little stronger.
Yeah.
But does it change any of the flavor at all of it, or
no? It does. It does change the flavor. This one I like with ice a little bit of ice. I know the Scotch purists are gonna yell at me for that one, but I like a cube of ice in this one. The other one I normally do the 12-year. I'll do without. I can do without ice.
Right.
It's just this one's just a little gnarlier.
That's
I think
cool.
however you want to drink it is fine. Who cares?
Yeah, it's going down in the same place.
It doesn't really matter. You know what? It's great, and I went to the store literally minutes before this, and I'm like, I want some scotch.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm drinking Heineken. That was the only thing that was left in the refrigerator. So I think I have one more left. So I may, once this is done, I'll run out and grab the other one. So thanks, Justin. Appreciate the question. So also there was a question back before. I have to go look for it, but they wanted to know what was on your pedal board. Like, what are you doing with all the MIDI and what's on your pedal board?
So I've got the ES8, which is controlling everything. So that's obviously, for those who don't know, it's a big like loop switching machine that can kind of do everything. It's insane how much programming you can do in that thing. And it's amazing. Like my favorite part about that is that you can change the order of the loops. So you don't have to change anything on your pedal board, but I can have drives in front of things or behind things. It can all be switched around, which makes everything so, I don't know, you can just have so many different tones with that. And outside of that, it's pretty standard stuff, like the Strymon timeline for delay. I've got the H9 for like modulations and verbs and that kind of stuff. Full tone OCD for drive, which to be honest, I don't even use the drive on it. Just the volume is all the way up, drive's all the way down, tones in the middle.
Yeah, clean boost.
A boost, colored boost.
Yeah. Exactly. The Empress compressor I have as a boost pedal.
That's a good one.
Don't end up using compression too much live, just because I tend to be kind of gainy, so I don't use it. But in the studio, I use that for compression all the time. And then I have the small sound, big sound buzz for a fuzz pedal. And that thing's pretty cool because it's got like a 2-side fuzz thing. So it's like sort of an octave fuzz when you click the second thing, but it's kind of hard to describe.
I'm trying to think if I know what that pedal is.
It's a really weird fuzz. I don't even know.
Octave fuzz. If you said octave fuzz, so I'm in.
What's the name? What's the brand name of it again?
Small sound, big sound.
Small sound, big sound.
I think it's an American company. To be honest, I don't know much about it, but it was just one of those. I tried it in a shop and loved it. And then what else do I have? I think that's. Oh, I've got the New Neighbor Slate, and I just use that for like an infinity verb. So for like covering synth pads most of the time, because I'll do a lot of stuff where I'll like loop a huge sound out of my stereo amps and then be playing guitar in the middle, just because I can't really play synth very well. I'm pretty horrible at it.
Well, that's fine. You can do it on guitar.
Exactly.
There's enough pedals out there. You can do it on guitar.
Yeah, no kidding.
For
and
sure.
Then a volume pedal, and that's it.
That's cool.
Pedal-wise, it's actually not all that much.
Did you say any delays?
Strymon.
Yeah, I've got the Strymon timeline, yeah.
Oh, the timeline, yep.
Which I only use two, just like a slap and then a long. And that's it. There's not a whole lot going on there.
Yeah,
I kind of find everything.
That's a good pedal.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Timeline's amazing, especially for any ethereal kind of things and any sort of, like sound design sort of delays,
Absolutely.
That's cool.
It's really good for that. And then my other favorite is the Boss DD500 for like the meat and potatoes delays. Those are great.
Yeah.
It's a great.
That thing is insane.
Yeah.
Really. Of course, that does the other stuff too, though.
It does. It's so jam-packed.
I like the simplistic programming of that one. I just like I find I can a lot of Boss stuff you find that you can just go into the editor, no manual, and just go, there it is. Okay, yeah. Okay, program. Oh, right. Okay. Oh, got it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how Boss stuff works generally.
It's pretty intuitive.
Yeah. Unlike, shall we say, an Eventide H9.
It took forever.
Where you just want to pull your hair out.
And if you don't have the app, forget about it.
Because you need the app, and then the app, all of a sudden, the Bluetooth is not connecting, and then you're like, God damn it, it's not working, and then okay, maybe I could just program it on the unit. Oh, forget that. You got to look up the manual.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
To even try to program anything on the damn unit. So it's like I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding.
Yeah.
Every time I do that, a board for someone that has that on it, I'm just like, oh, how do you do the MIDI channel again? How do you do this again? Okay, and I don't have access because it's on their phone, for their stuff. So I mean, I can't really program it for them or do anything because, forget it.
It's a very intense. To be honest, for me, that thing is set, and I'm never touching it again.
Right.
Yeah.
If the presets that I'll ever need, and they are the way they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a damn I mean, it sounds great, but
I wish you could combine.
it's a little noisy in front of amps, but it sounds good.
Oh, in front of amps?
Yeah, like for someone that uses on a pedal board, say in front of things, which there's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah.
It's hissy. In the loop of an amp, it's great. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's really good in the loop. So yeah, there's that.
I wish it was, and I guess it could be said for any, delay pedal, but the H9 has got so many different sounds, reverbs and modulation and chorus and I mean basically anything you want on there.
Rotary and
yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
I wish it was able to do a combined, like you can have multiple sounds together.
Yeah, well, that's the history of Eventide. Eventide's never done that. You can do maybe two things combined.
I think they do have that where there's
on a few algorithms, right?
Yeah, but they're very specific, and you can't really I don't think you can change the order that they're in either. It's just the way they are in the preset.
Yeah, that's the heritage from way long ago. I mean, I remember doing rigs with H3000s and stuff way back in the day, and which sounded amazing. Sounded like, I mean, that piece sounds amazing.
For sure.
Anything after the H3000 did not sound as good, period.
Right.
If you get one in front of you again years later, which I have, and you hear it, you're like, oh, man, is that good?
That was.
I think we talked about that one on that Bob Bradshaw show. There's certain old pieces of gear that are just like you plug them in and you're just like, oh crap, that's good sounding.
What's your number one of that kind of thing?
Well, there's a bunch of old rack gear from that era, so H3000 sounds amazing. Lexicon PCM 42 delays.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable, three-dimensional, crazy sounding. Right. I mean, it's a simple delay, put the number in, put the number repeats. It's, there's nothing crazy about it, but It almost sounds three-dimensional. So it sounds like there's reverb on it almost, but there's just delay, and it's just so deep sounding. So it's not just like a delay repeat that's like static that's just going bing, 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 bing.
Right.
It's got this crazy 3D depth to it.
So there's some kind of filtering or something going on that's
frankly, I talked about this before. I'm sure you have some experience with this. So say you play vinyl through a old stereo from, say, nothing crazy, old stereo, maybe even early 80s or something. Just an old Marantz receiver or something. Through some cool speakers and some vinyl. It sounds unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, find something made today that sounds as good as that receiver.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So
and what's going on there? What's missing?
Well, I mean, the technology has advanced with A to D and D to A converters, but the actual audio portions of it have not advanced.
Right.
So now it's made to be cheap. So just throwing it together from people that aren't used to even making audio file products. I mean, there's a lot of people in the recording world that still make audiophile products that are great. But in the consumer world, that doesn't exist. And it used to exist in the consumer world.
And be fairly affordable, I feel like.
Huh?
And be kind of affordable, it seemed.
Yeah, I mean, I have a run-of-the-mill something receiver out here. And I bought a new turntable. And I have some old Tannoy monitors. Can't remember what the receiver is. It might be a Techniques receiver or something.
Right, yeah.
And, it was a $50 receiver,
Totally.
You put a record on it, and you listen through the speakers, and it's a new turntable. It's a U-turn audio turntable or something.
Sure.
And you put the vinyl on it, and you're listen through these speakers, and just Oh yeah, that's what I remember Van Halen 2 sounding like as a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
when I listened to it.
Much different experience than listening to MP3s.
Like literally like guitar sounds and everything. You're just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't dawn on you until you hear it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just like, why does that sound so good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone gave me a Marantz receiver too that's in perfect working order that I have just sitting at my shop that's not doing anything.
Is it tubes?
No, it's just the old
I got you.
that old Marantz that made the thing you used to see from the I don't know
the 80s.
70s. 70s,
70s, 80s, yeah. That's cool.
Man,
I had one of those for years and it died on me, and at the time I just didn't know enough of like how to get in and fix those things, where now I would just get right in there and figure out what was wrong with it.
Figure out what's wrong. Yeah, most of the time all that stuff, if it doesn't work, most of the time it's like dirty jacks and dirty
Totally.
and dirty stuff, and it's like exercise the pot a bunch of times, all of a sudden, oh, there it comes, wait, it's working.
Yeah. Deoxit all over everything.
Deoxit on everything, and all of a sudden it's working, and actually if I don't use the one that I have set up with the turntable very much, that happens. Shit, one side doesn't work.
Hey, let me ask you a question about deoxit, because I've got deoxit, and I spray that stuff out and it comes out like in a stream and it gets everything wet. Is that dangerous, or how's it supposed to?
Well, I mean, it's not really that dangerous to electronic components, but I mean, like if you spray a pot out, you just a little squirt, just a little bit, and then just wiggle the pot back and forth as much as you can possibly do it, as fast as you could do it.
Okay.
Almost take your hand and go zip, zip, zip,
Yeah.
But just very little bit.
Yeah, you don't need very much.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to soak anything in it,
Yeah. Yeah, I think mine.
Because there's a little grease in it, so it'll actually collect dust over time if you soak stuff with it. So.
Gotcha.
It's not grease, but it's a little lubricant in some of that. So.
Does it also evaporate over time, or that stuff, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, sure, eventually. Sure, everything does.
Yeah,
right?
true. Yeah. So we got a couple questions. Eternalism. I like that. How do I get the buzzy preamp distortion bedroom metal tone? Buzzy preamp distortion bedroom metal tone.
How about a metal zone?
That'll get it. That'll do
or
it.
Put that straight into a card, into whatever your Apollo or.
I mean, I don't know necessarily what you mean by that, but to me that would be a perfect example of the buzzy preamp distortion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or a big muff.
I remember when I was a kid, the very first thing that came about was the heavy metal pedal, which was basically like the predecessor to the metal zone.
Totally. Yeah, and I remember everybody was freaking out about the HM2 a few years ago.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, for a little bit there was like you'd go on Reverb and those things would be like $400.
Really?
Damn it!
Yeah.
You used to be able to get them for like 20.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things like some YouTuber, whatever, went up and was like, "Oh, this is what I use on all my records," and then it went crazy for a little bit.
Here's the thing, anything at all can be a useful sound. I'm
Sure.
convinced, for the right person with the right, there's no. I've learned for doing rigs over the years, and I think I might have said this before, that there is no right way to do things.
Absolutely.
If you want to put your wah last and your delay first, and some weird thing in between, who's to say that this is not an artistic choice?
Absolutely.
Well, there's other people out there that tend to say no, that's not the way you do things. And I've never believed in that in designing rigs and stuff for people. It's about what works for you.
For sure.
A long time ago, there was a band. I think I've mentioned this on shows before. There was a band that came to me in the 90s, I think, called 1,000 Mona Lisas. They were a signed act. They were kind of a punk-based act. I'm still friends with the guy on Facebook. He's a nurse now, I think.
Amazing.
And he came to me with the weirdest setup. I mean, it was odd to me. It was a Mesa Boogie tri-axis preamp into a Mesa 290 power amp, and he had these old ART graphic EQ in between the two. But then there was a little pedal drawer, and there were like 3 or 4 pedals that went off to a silver-faced twin that might have had JBLs in it with the master volume. The really bad twins.
Yeah.
And he would crank it up and use the master volume and those pedals into that amp, along with this Mesa Boogie tri-axis and the power amp into another cabinet.
Cool.
And you look at it and you're going, "Oh God, this is going to be awful." And truly, in some respects, it was awful. But for his band, being that it was more of a punk-based band and stuff, the sound was incredibly perfect for them.
For sure.
Like when you heard it in context with their band, you're like, "Oh, I get it. I get it. It sounds amazing."
He is the best.
It's like the old Kurt Cobain thing. It was like a DS1 and basically into a Mesa Studio preamp clean into a Crown power amp into a 4x12.
Right.
You just think about that. That's awful.
Yeah.
And a few other effects in there. You think about that's awful, but in context, it was great.
Oh, it sounded amazing.
There's no rules, and in fact, if you apply rules, it's no fun. That's no fun. You have to be artistic in your choices of the sounds you're making, and why not mix it up? Hey, I like my fuzz after my delay because it does this. Okay,
For
sure. Why not?
Absolutely.
And see, with the ES8, you can do that because you just swap stuff around.
That's my favorite part about that whole thing. You can literally try whatever you want, not have to undo your pedal board and ruin all your cables all the time.
Yeah. What happens if I put that pedal in front of that pedal? It does that. That's awful. Never mind.
Right. How hard is it to program that? It's pretty easy.
It's hard.
Yeah, it took me a little bit to get used to it, but once I got used to it, it was really easy. And it actually has an amazing if you plug your computer into it, that is amazing.
The editor is pretty cool. I just wish it had a USB port on it.
Yeah, you have to use the MIDI to USB cable to do it, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. I bought 3 or 4 of those so that if anything happens, I always have one of those cables ready to go. But that system is amazing because I can save set lists over a tour. So as we're changing every night, it's okay, cool. Now I have this set list from the other night will work tonight. Cool. I just go load that. So it takes 2 minutes to just do whatever I need for a night.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good switcher. I mean, I have no issues with that switcher whatsoever. I hear they're going to come out with a bigger one. I don't know if that's true or not, but a bigger one, and hopefully it will have the USB port on it because everything else later had it.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprising choice to not, but I'm sure it was just whatever they could fit on there sort of thing.
I mean, how much bigger can it be? I mean,
more loops. I think it was maybe 12 loops instead of 8 or something.
Oh, crazy.
Wow.
I've heard rumors of this. I don't have any confirmation on this, so don't quote me. I don't know anything.
I know nothing. That's great.
My request would have been more stereo loops.
That might happen, yeah. That might happen.
But I don't even use all of the 8 on there. I think I'm only using 5 loops.
Well, you have to get on that.
Yeah.
You got to put more on your board.
I know,
You,
but
you
also,
probably have time now.
yeah,
You
it's
get
true.
That's funny.
You know, you can only do so many drive-in concerts, I think.
It's true.
Well, actually, you might be able to do quite a few, maybe,
Yeah, we might have a good run.
if
Maybe
you
we
can
can
find drive-ins.
Yeah.
Well, like you were saying last night, seems to be plenty in Toronto.
Yeah, it seems like there's a bunch in Ontario, that's for sure.
Well, like I think I said, I mean, but that could be almost anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, if you set up a remote stage in a field,
Yeah.
you could park cars in the field and do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I mean,
And
you
I
know,
think
people set up, you know, for festivals, they set up stages in the middle of fields all the time with huge video screens and everything else. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. It can happen.
People go to see it. I would. I think I would.
You know, I think Ian got locked up there.
Ian might be locked up.
Ian, you still there? Well, while we're waiting for Ian,
We have his frozen face.
yeah. What happened to Ian? Let's see what happens if he unfreezes.
Yeah, he might have to join again or something.
Okay. Madman has.
You know, this is the problem we have right now with internet, right?
Oh yeah, it's
because everyone's home, everyone is on the internet, and it's. I know mine is a little compromised slightly, but
oh, there he is. You back, Ian?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's so weird. Over here, I heard you guys that whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just frozen. You were a frozen face on the screen.
So strange.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, we're used to that. I was just saying, you know, it's like, yeah, internet right now is just everyone's on it, and it's a mess.
100%.
It's just like crappy.
Especially certain times of the day, it just starts getting really slow.
Which I imagine right now here at least is awful. But I'm okay right now, I guess.
No, you're good. You're good. So we have a question for you, Dave. Madman says, "Hey, Dave, my favorite amp is the JTM 45, made in England." He says, "Is the JTM 45 made in England reissue good? And do you make a JTM type amp?"
No, it's not good. Don't buy that. If you want a JTM 45, like straight up JTM 45, look to some other boutique builders, you know, whether it be Germino or I don't know if even George Metropolis is building them anymore or not, but at this point in time, he might. Yeah. So as far as my JTM 45, I would say the Dirty Shirley, the big one, is my sort of JTM 45. It's the front end's different. It has a master, but the power section is a JTM 45. Yeah, and the reissue, it's not so good. I mean, the reissue 50 is better than the actual 45 reissue that they have. But yet a totally different amp, of course. But
what's wrong with the reissue?
You know, the reissue is just sort of not sweet, sort of harsh, kind of just not round and rich, and like a real vintage JTM 45 just sounds rich and warm and fat. You know, that's what it does, and it does it really well. And that amp's not quite that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, you could probably mod it up to be that, but that probably involves changing both transformers in the amp and stuff. So,
right. So just
at that point, it's like may as well build a custom build.
Right.
At that point, I can do a custom build for you. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, you have Friedman custom build JTM 45. How's that?
That sounds pretty amazing.
And email Dave at.
You could do Friedman Amps at Gmail. You could do Rack Systems at Yahoo. Either way.
There you go. John Sims, do you guys like the new Tongue Soul EL34s? Are they new? I haven't heard of anything new from Tongue Soul, but
those aren't new, but those are cool. They're not exactly EL34 sounding. They're kind of a cross between a 6L6 and an EL34. Right. They're really well made, and they're expensive, and they sound good, though.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever used those, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're cool. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're kind of cost prohibitive for production, and it's not exactly the tone also that I'm going for, but it's a good tube. It does sound good. I mean, I've put them in my amps before, and they sound good. So.
Timo Hendricks says, "Hi, I just watched the first 10 episodes of Tone Talk, and now episode 69, and Dave still talks about how good the old delays sound with a big heart."
Well, if you show me a new one that sounds as good as the old one, please show me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, the Boss DD500
in
that vintage digital mode is really close to an old rolling delay. Really close.
And for long, that's plenty good.
Yeah, exactly. So, but man, honestly, if you haven't had the pleasure of playing through that old stuff that I'm talking about, you don't understand. You really just don't get it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like I think that when I started in this industry and who I worked for at the time and the amount of vintage amps I had access to and the amount of stuff, that was a huge thing. I know, when someone says on the internet, it doesn't sound like a Plexi, I go, well, wait, what's your background? And have you actually heard any Plexis? Have you played through them? How many have you played through? I think sometimes people have an idea what it's supposed to sound like, but they don't really have any real world experience on what that means. So,
sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or they heard a Plexi through a Kemper or something, and that's what they base what a Plexi sounds like, which is not.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to be in a room when your ears are bleeding, and you're playing a vintage Plexi through a vintage cabinet, or a high watt, even more bleeding.
Oh my God,
that's
a high watt, nothing like 100-watt high watt on 10.
Holy shit!
Blasting through a cabinet, and you strike a chord, it almost knocks you across the room.
It's ridiculous,
but it's so cool. It's so percussive. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
And
but I don't even
you
know.
can get that in the studio and you can record it and capture it. It's amazing. It's unbelievable.
I have no idea how people used to play that loud all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you're using little amps.
100%, and they're pretty loud.
Right. Yeah.
Plenty of.
Those guys had to be deaf, no doubt about it.
Oh,
they're deaf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of them. It's weird.
Yeah. What about?
Yeah, not all of them.
It's weird how deafness strikes some, but not others.
Yeah.
How's George Lynch's hearing? Because he's still doing
fine.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine. And Steve Stevens, fine. Hearing's fine. I mean, nothing I've noticed,
Right.
But other guys.
But then there's other guys that are completely deaf, like Warren DeMartini and things like that, and just deaf.
I've heard Ed is probably deaf too.
Ed's a little deaf.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
But it's I think it's just genetics how it reacts to your body, so to speak.
Right.
What kind of damage it does or doesn't.
Yeah.
What stages you're playing on, how close you are to shit all the time.
Yeah, exactly. But even some people that had it blasting all the time, forever, their hearing's fine. Well, I mean, probably slightly impaired, but
Sure.
it's not a problem.
They can still hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that just like, if you talk to them, they're just like, "What'd you say?" Huh? Pardon me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I gotta yell louder.
It's tough. It's that's a tough job, especially if you're a real touring musician on stages back in those days. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of almost think we're gonna see more damage from in-ears than we're gonna see from amps.
For sure. A lot of people will wear them and have it really, really loud.
Well, they have it really, really loud, and it's just so, just right on your eardrum. And if something happens, you're really screwed. If there's some feedback or something, I've seen people just yank their in-ears out so fast that you can't believe it, but they already got the blast. It's like,
right.
It's I don't know. I think it's at least with an amp on stage or a drummer on stage, if they're too loud, you're perceiving that.
Yeah.
And you can step away a few feet from it. You know what I mean? You can kind of turn your head or step away or do something. With in-ears, just going the whole time, beating on your eardrums.
For sure.
And okay, keep them lower. You can keep them lower, but a lot of people just don't do that. It's just not.
No, it feels good for them to be really, really loud.
Cranking it up and hearing it. So, is that doing more damage? Maybe.
Yeah, honestly, probably is. It took me a long time to get used to having them really quiet.
Do you use them?
So you use it real quiet?
Yeah. Once I got used to it's just needing to sound more like a studio instead of like a really loud, exciting stage, because there is something amazing about that. But once I got used to it not being like that, it was the best thing that ever happened. Everything's so clear. I can hear exactly what's going on and everything, and I end up, I think, playing a lot tighter because of it. But that being said, it was definitely a learning curve. It's not as exciting sounding. It's not as like raw and powerful. It's like pulling them out and just having amps blasting and like drummers playing super loud. It's definitely different. Yeah, it's different for sure.
Yeah, it's got. That's like you said. You have to get used to it because. Yeah, that's gotta be tough.
But doing it every night and not ringing when you walk off stage was just like a revelation.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's good.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
As long as you're still getting enjoyment out of it,
Oh, for sure.
Are they putting crowd mics into your mixer at all? Yeah, so you can.
They do. But to be honest, I got rid of it, and I basically just like drums, bass, and guitar. That's pretty much all I hear.
Okay.
And I just lock in on that and have fun with that.
So no vocals?
They're there, but just basically enough that I can just like hear that they're happening. But they're not. Like nobody would want to listen to my mix. That's for sure.
That's cool as long as you can follow it, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah, it's the exciting part for me. It's kind of like what I want in a studio that gets me amped. I just love bass and drums. Is always so much fun to listen to.
Right. So who are some of your guitar influences?
Probably Richie Blackmore would be like my favorite. Like Machine Head era Richie Blackmore was like the shit when I was a little kid. I listened to that album endlessly.
That's awesome.
That's probably my favorite, dude.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a youngin'.
Yeah.
That's interesting for your age, probably, for that record. So you really, really dug back.
Yeah, I mean, it was like my dad had the record and would play it all the time. And so I just like that intro to Lazy like blew my mind when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I thought it was so scary. And then when the guitars come in, it's so awesome. And they jam for like 4 minutes before there's vocals. That just like blew my mind.
Yeah, you were saying in the Boss thing, you also got into like a bunch of metal stuff and things too, right?
Yeah, I think from that stuff, then all of a sudden it was like listening to like lots of Black Sabbath and Ozzy, and then getting into Slayer and Megadeth and Meshuggah, and then getting into like heavier stuff like Behemoth. And
So you come from like a very heavy background, sort of. Oh, I froze up again, Ian.
Yep. Yep. Well, when he comes back, there you are. You there?
You there?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So as
weird.
I was saying, you froze up again.
Yeah.
So you come from a very heavy background, sort of.
Yeah. I still like am always listening to metal. It's kind of the most fun.
That's so interesting because of the band you're in compared to that. So it's like almost polar opposite.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I also listen to a lot of stuff like I play as well.
Right.
But a lot of it I don't find is like, it's not as exciting guitar wise. It's more like exciting sound wise.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that I love to listen to that's just for the sound. Like Peter Gabriel stuff has always blown my mind. But it's not exactly the most exciting guitar wise all the time.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. I haven't listened to Peter Gabriel in a long time.
Oh, Peter Gabriel's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always like one of the best albums. The album's amazing.
Did you like him in Genesis? Or just solo?
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to Genesis, but I haven't dug in it enough.
Yeah. Ian's having some internet issues.
Oh, it's okay. We get, bits and pieces out of him.
Okay.
Oh, there's Mickey McConnell here says, I'm 25 and love classic rock. Don't be surprised. Actually, I'm not surprised. The younger you are, the less I'm surprised. So it's the kind of the middle ground that I'm a little more surprised at. It seems actually that all the younger kids are digging way back. I mean, there's a young band that I'm doing work with that is digging massively back to vintage, kind of 70s stuff. So that's not surprising.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I'm trying to teach my son every time he gets in the car with me. It's like...
Oh, you're back.
Am I back?
Yeah.
You're back.
You working?
Yep.
Yeah.
You
It's okay. You just take a break every once in a while.
It's funny because I can bait.
Yeah, you can follow us, but we don't get you. Like right now.
Right, you just locked up again.
Oh, there you're back.
You want to tell us about the history of July Talk? We got a question from GVB Jr.
Yeah, sure. I think the band essentially started. Peter, who's the singer, was in a band with our drummer Danny like years and years ago, and they were on tour in Europe and had like this horrible time with this tour that was happening. So the band was like breaking up, and I think on the way home from that, Peter had an idea for this other band. So him and Danny were like, okay, sweet, we'll do that. And I think Pete had started writing some tunes and then found Leia randomly at a bar one night. She was like singing something. So he was like enamored with the way that she was singing songs and the songs she was singing. So they started writing tunes together. And then Josh was one of Peter. Josh plays bass in the band. He's like a longtime friend of Peter as well. They went to school together for film. So at the time, they actually had a film company together and were making music videos for other bands. So that all started, and there was another guy named Eamon who was playing guitar at the time. And so the band had started, and they had like started writing, and Eamon, he was doing much better on his own, so he was going to go do his own thing. Mm-hmm. So I got a call. I was playing in this like cover band in Toronto, which I still play in, Dwayne Gretzky. And I got a call from one of the guys in Dwayne Gretzky being like, hey, I know this band is like looking for somebody to audition if you want to. So I went and auditioned, and then we just kind of started touring from then.
So that's interesting. So they had their own film thing that they were doing. So I read a little bit about that. So how much of all these videos is them? What's does Peter do a lot of the editing, or?
Kind of goes back and forth. In the beginning, it was a lot more Pete and Josh, and then as it started going on, it was more hiring people to do a lot of that stuff, but still a lot of involvement from those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, it's almost never us doing it, except like literally nowadays, it's all Peter basically doing most of the videos, just because it's the only way that we can. Like we just released this.
So the current stuff was.
Yeah, that's all Pete.
All the current videos.
Yeah, I think all the ones that just got released, except
those are some pretty cool. The one with the old world Hollywood stuff.
Yeah,
that was super cool.
Yeah, the animation stuff was a buddy of ours named Cosette, and Pete just helped film. Like we did a funny day in front of green screens, which was lucky. That was weeks before everything shut down.
Right. Well, that's cool. I mean, I like that because it. I do all free. This is sort of kind of crazy, but like people, I don't know if everyone knows, but all the customer service for Friedman is literally me.
That's
so
wild. If
if you email Friedman. FriedmanAmplification@gmail.com. The only person that gets this email is me. That's really been fantastic because you have total control over what's going on, who's getting taken care of. If there's a problem, how it gets taken care of, how is it troubleshot? Because the thing is. Generally speaking, if someone else does it, they're going to have to ask me.
Right.
Hey, this guy's got a problem with his amp. What do you think this is? And could you help me? Well, why don't I just do it? Because I'm doing it anyway. You're asking me, and I'm doing it now anyway. So I do all that stuff, and it really makes a difference because I have total control over it. And maybe that's being a control freak, but I think people, from what I've gathered, people seem to really appreciate it.
They do. I think they do.
They're
not dealing with. They're dealing with the owner of the company.
Yeah, they're dealing with the owner of the company, and and then I'm not saying that I don't delegate something out to people. Hey, can you send this to this person? Here's the address, here's this, here's that. Of course I do. I don't physically do that myself, but I'm the first contact and I'm the person they're dealing with until it comes to sending them something, then someone else deals with it.
Exactly.
There's nothing worse than like contacting a company and just knowing that you're talking to somebody who actually can't help you with your problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because that's the way it always is. They just don't know the product.
Right.
I mean, they maybe know sort of the product, and then you're like, there's a bug with this, and when you do this, it does this and this. Oh, really? Are you sure about that? I'm like, yeah, no, there's a bug.
Yeah. It's happening.
It's happening. I can show it to you. Do you have someone else that knows something about this?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I appreciate the doing it yourself kind of thing, because I think it really shows in the product,
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. It's definitely more unique that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure. Hey, we've got a super chat from Steel Guitar Player. Thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Great show, guys. Ian is a great guest. Thank you. Dave, are the new up and coming amp builders coming up with any original circuitry ideas? Seems most are building modded Fender circuits. I love Fenders, but anybody doing anything new?
Who are the new and upcoming? I would like to know actually who would be the new and upcoming builders, because I don't, off the top of my head, know any new builders. I'm like thinking about this for a second. I mean, I guess there's a couple new builders. There's that Omega Amps or something.
Well, wouldn't like Victory Amps and Rev be like kind of the newer companies that have come around?
Well, yeah, sort of, I guess. Sure. Are they new? No, everything is sort of based on something. It all starts somewhere. I don't think at this point there's. Here's the problem. So you create a new circuit and you there's no way that it hasn't been done before. Kind of. It's there's some variation of it that's been done before. So it's your take on this circuit. And generally speaking, people, what I've seen is people actually do not want a new circuit. They want an improved version of the original circuit because they're it's so ingrained in their head what this distorted guitar tone is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so, you know, like, okay, Richie Blackmore, going back to your fave, you know, there's a certain tone that's ingrained in your head, and I want it to sound like Richie Blackmore. Well, okay. Well, you can't take it too far from that circuit because people don't want to hear it. It's like, I don't like, here's the funny thing is I don't like, I've said this before too, I don't like gold, but half my amps are gold. And that came from a long time ago because people kept asking me, can you make a gold faceplate on the amp? Because I want it to look like the gold faceplate like Marshall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess, sure. And then you get pigeonholed into doing the gold thing, and you know.
Excuse me.
I would like to say that you can make something new and everyone will accept it. It's like a new guitar shape. So someone comes out with a crazy new guitar shape, never been done before, and everyone looks at it and goes, "Ew."
Yep.
Ew, I don't know if I like that. The only guitar shape that sort of kind of bucked that thing was like when Eddie Van Halen came out with his sort of, you know, Wolfgang-y sort of shape.
Yeah, that was
which got accepted eventually. Maybe when it first came out, it might have been a little weird. People were like, I don't know.
Is that just Van Halen?
Yeah, but then again, you had Van Halen also backing it, you know, so you're like, you know, it's tough breaking in new things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's a brand new sound. Well, I mean, I don't know if you can create it. Can you create a brand new sound is a question. In any way, shape, or form with anything. I don't know.
Yeah. You just do it different than somebody else did, I guess.
I mean, the problem is that there's been too many years with too many people creating new sounds. So there was a time when you could create a new sound, right?
Sure.
So there was a time when it's like, okay, you're going back to the 50s and basically everything was clean, right? So then after everything was clean, it started being dirty. So then their new sounds came and fuzz boxes came and tone benders and all this stuff. And those were new sounds at the time. So now everything has been done ad nauseum. So it's really just a take on you're just gonna. I mean, how do you do? I'm not sure how to create a new sound.
Right.
Because in your head, ingrained in your head, you're hearing something, and when you dial something in, or when I make a new amp, in my head, I'm like going for something, and I want to hear it a certain way.
For sure.
I mean, I want to hear that guitar tone, that Richie Blackmore guitar tone, or whatever, you know, whatever that sound, Jimmy Page or something, you know.
And even half the time, I feel
Eddie
like
Van Halen, something.
You hear like an isolated track, and it's like, oh, that's way different than I thought it sounded.
Yeah.
Like, out of context, it's so hard to tell what's going on. with guitar tones.
Well, yeah, once it's in the track and in the mix,
Yeah,
and
that's true,
everything
too.
else. I mean, I was a huge Pete Townsend fan, and there's some good isolated tracks from Pete Townsend on YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe won't Get Fooled Again or something, or a couple total isolated tracks, and when you hear that, you go, well, obviously this was done off the cuff in the studio. Totally off the cuff. He was just improvising the song as it went through.
That's so awesome.
Because it never repeats itself.
Yeah, like listen to Who Are You?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's an isolated guitar track, and you listen to all the parts, and the parts never repeat themselves. So, like the verse in the first verse is a certain way, but throughout that verse it varies, and the second verse is in the rough idea of the first verse, but again it varies, and there's accents and different things that are done. The chorus is the same way. They're just total accents. So they relied on he relied on the bass player John Entwistle and Keith Moon at the time to lay this foundation where he can just float over top.
Yeah, and it's so
in a living, breathing musical thing. And I said the same thing about John Bonham and drums with John Bonham. Mm-hmm. They were a living, breathing organism. It wasn't the verse is this beat, the chorus is this beat,
totally.
Repeat. No, not at all. If you listen to it, it's like there's accents and there's movement and it's a moving target. It's not a.
It's a piece. It's written.
It's a living, breathing organism. That's all I could say it is.
Yeah.
So, and that is really cool.
Oh, it's the coolest.
And that's what happens, and the magic that happens in that living, breathing band playing as a band is what. That's the magic, man. That's the magic.
That's why live shows are so good. You actually see that happen.
Yeah, if your live show isn't to a click and programmed and everything's to the 100%. T. If there's some improvisation to or movement to the music, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some magic that happens, Yeah. I'm sure there's some magic that happens with your band because I've seen some live stuff where it's totally different. It's like,
God, yeah. There's
what's going on?
Sometimes it's way too fast or too slow. But
it's just like rocking.
Fits the night.
Right. Just go with the flow. Hey, we got a super chat from Dan Pfeiffer. Thanks again, man. Dave, would you be able to add a depth control and bright switch to a new DS Mini? And then he has a second part.
No, because the DS Mini doesn't have any negative feedback. So the depth control is in the negative feedback loop, and I can't add it to a Dirty Shirley Mini.
Bright switch?
Bright switch, I could definitely vary the bright, yes.
Okay.
It could be darker, brighter, whatever you want. There's a certain capacitor in there that kind of darkens it a bit. So if you want it brighter, it can be brighter, or darker, it could be darker.
Okay. And then he also wanted to know, can you talk about why your EL84 output sections don't have that sound that every other amp does that tries to use them? And it's probably more of that Voxy sound.
I think people pigeonhole an EL84 tube into being a Vox. And in actuality, I don't think people even know what a Vox sounds like. A great Vox AC30 with a top boost circuit in it, like a vintage one, dude, that thing can rock. I mean, if you crank it up, it sounds like a Marshall or something, man. It sounds great. So it's kind of mean and crazy. I mean, it's not this mid-rangey small thing that people seem to attribute EL84s to. By no means, obviously, with the Docherty Mini or any of the EL84 amps I make, they sound small. They're big. We push the tubes really hard, though, so you might have to change tubes more often. But we do push them really hard. We push them. It kind of started. The original Docherty Mini and the Pink Taco amps started with the vintage 20-watt Marshalls that existed. So we started sort of with that power section, and we kind of tweaked it a little bit, but we started with that power section, which ran the tubes incredibly beyond what they really should be run at. But surprisingly, not too bad. I mean, we don't have too much troubles with the tubes. As long as you use the JJ EL84s in them, they work. And but you probably should change them every 6 months or so. I mean, they're hot. They run hot. I mean,
Right.
But you just pop them in, so it's not a big deal.
I was going to say, you don't have to bias that amp.
No, you don't do anything. You just pop them in. And just because you buy a new set of tubes doesn't mean that set of tubes is good either. So let me just preface that. You could pop in a new set and you're going, it's red plating. Okay, you got bad tube. So it's nothing to do with the amp. It's just you got a bad tube.
It's funny. I'd say years I bought tubes, never had a problem, and then all of a sudden it's like every third or fourth pair of tubes I buy, one of them's toast.
Yeah, it depends on where you're buying from and who it is and
How
well it's tested
and shit. Just whatever you can find when you're on the road.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, we retest our tubes, so we get tested tubes and then we actually retest them. Well, EL84s we don't retest, but we burn those in. So,
right.
Any amp that we make, we burn in for like 24 hours with a signal going through it and cranked up and into a load. And so it's, it's getting some abuse beforehand to see if it's going to freak out or.
Yeah.
But someone said, let's play Guess Ian's Beer. He already told us what the beer is.
Oh, I'm on to a different one, yeah.
Oh, you got a different one.
Yeah. Same company, but it's an APA.
What is APA?
Honestly, I have no idea what it stands for, but it tastes really good.
Yeah, I understand IPA, but what's APA?
Yeah. I don't know. Something pale ale.
so you're into the microbrew kind of beer, obviously.
The thing's been is that like the LCBO down here is always rammed, and then all the little microbreweries have no lines ever. So it's
LCBO. Oh yeah, wait, Canada. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we have
you have the liquor stores and the beer stores, right?
Yeah, and then we have microbreweries, and those are basically the places you can get.
I grew up going to Canada, so I understand.
Yeah. It's.
Being from Detroit, that's what you did. You went to Canada.
Yeah.
I've never been.
Toronto, Niagara Falls, and Windsor sucks, but.
Yeah. It's a fair.
But the nice thing is 3 hours you can go to Detroit.
Exactly.
Which is actually, I don't know about right now, but it was really great for a minute.
Oh, I was loving going to Detroit.
Were you going recently?
Yeah, I mean, like probably in the last 2 years, it's been like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The restaurant scene and everything and the vibe and the thing, it was just like awesome.
100%.
Now I shudder to think all the progress that was made, what's going to happen. So, I mean, hopefully some of this stuff survives,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Hope so.
Yeah. I hope you can make it somewhere there and play, maybe at drive-ins this year, or sometime in the next year or something.
Yeah, I'm hoping next year that it can just we can start doing concerts again. And if it takes a little bit, they have to be smaller, that's fine. Figure it out.
Yeah. Well, at least there. I mean, at least you could go to Detroit or something because it's like it's easy to drive and stuff.
Yeah.
And
100%.
And that's a great rock and roll town.
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing.
Were you guys play there in recent times, I imagine?
Yeah, we were there, would have been last, like around this time, I guess.
Where'd you play?
I think.
Was it a theater or was it a club?
Yeah, it's at I want to say it's called the Fox.
Fox Theater. Really bitchin' theater? Like unbelievable inside?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fox Theater.
Yeah. It's
like
so
like
incredible.
jaw-droppingly nice.
Yeah, like so gorgeous. Yeah.
Wow.
But I just can't remember if it was the Fox or the Fillmore.
Could have been either one. Both are cool.
And they're
Fox
right beside each
really
other.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it was the Fox this time, but we've played both.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Mhm.
Got a question.
Yeah, the Fox Theater, if anyone ever wants to look that up, you should look that up. It's unbelievable inside.
Oh, incredible.
Like when they restored that, they restored it to just it's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, must be an awesome place to play.
Yeah, 100%. Those old theaters are amazing.
Theaters are amazing because they have these wood stages,
Yeah.
And that
And
wood
some
stage has
Some
that.
are bizarre where they like slant down into the crowd, so it's kind of a cool feeling the whole time you're kind of pushed to the front.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And those wood stages just have that, when you're on stage, that it just sounds great,
Oh, it's insane.
It
Yeah.
has, your guitar amps are like, man, that sounds good.
Yeah. Exactly.
The wood is resonating and it just sounds, oh God.
Yeah, I gotta imagine the acoustics in those places got to be great.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Mike 1 or Mickle 1, any chance of getting a flame top Cali in blue jean? I think so, yes, right?
There's a chance, although, our situation right now making guitars, I'm not exactly sure where we're at.
Yeah, of course.
It's just a weird time ordering anything, doing anything, and what we're making and what we're not making and what's going on, and I don't have total answers for any of it yet. It'll play out over the next few months, I imagine, but on what's going to be happening or not happening. So, yes, we could probably do whatever you want, but as long as we're making them.
Right. And there may be one available already out there in Sweetwater or something. I mean, you guys did make one, right?
I think, yeah.
I saw blue jean flame top, I think at Sweetwater.
Yeah, the Cali. I mean, you might be more.
It might be the NoHo.
Apt to see the NoHo.
Yeah.
Than you would the
Cali. Yeah.
The Cali.
I think you're right. Yep. I know you're right. It's your guitar.
Yeah.
It's your company. I know you're right.
Ian needs a guitar.
Sure.
He needs a Friedman guitar.
I would love to try one. I've never had the chance.
So that would be a change from your current lineup, what you currently play.
Oh, we could find something that fits in where he doesn't have something.
For sure.
It's like, I don't have one that does that.
I'm sure.
Yeah, what's wrong with your guitars? I don't know much about the Friedman guitars, if I'm honest.
Oh, we got some cool stuff. We got a Les Paul kind of thing. We have a Telly sort of thing, a vintage Stratty sort of thing. We have the 24 fret pretty thing. We have,
the hot rodded.
Depends on what your needs are,
Yeah, totally. I mean, I have nothing Strat-wise. That's always been a bit of an enigma for me.
Because you don't like it, or because you
I've never
use it, or it seems like you would use it in the band.
I've never had the opportunity to play a Strat that I liked.
Oh, okay.
But I know they exist. They 100% do. Because I was like that with Tellys for years, and then I finally found one, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, I get this. 100%.
Right.
But the Strats, everything I've ever picked up, it's always felt weird and alien for me. And I don't know exactly what the problem is. I think maybe just too used to like the way Gibson guitars are set up, that kind of style with the bridge at the back.
Yeah.
It's not the
I'm
single
kind of
coils.
the opposite.
Maybe a little bit the single coils, but I think I've also like I just need to set up my amps different when I'm using single coils. You know, it's just a different sound.
I'm sort of the opposite. I like Strats more than I like Les Pauls, so to speak.
Right. And I think that's the way it always goes. It's kind of your one way or the other on that.
Well, I kind of grew up in an era where it was, like the super Strat, so to speak, was the king. And so I got used to playing Strats and things. So, I never could. Just Les Pauls were always heavy and clunky and horrible to me.
And that's what I.
Although I do like the SG.
Yeah, SGs are great.
That SG thing, that Yamaha SG thing, which is basically like a Les Paul-ish kind of guitar, is super cool.
For those who don't know, like
There you go.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, they're amazing
and can be had for a reasonable price.
Yeah, some of them.
That's a cool guitar. Yeah, I'm sure it sounds great.
I love them. Love them. Obsessed with them. I have 2 of them. So.
I have a black one too, don't you, or something?
Yeah, normally I tour with the black one, and I recently bought that one because I have the 2 bands going, and I wanted to have the similar setup going, but all the July Talk stuff is in a storage unit all the time if we're not on tour, and it was kind of a pain in the ass to have a gig with this other band and go to a storage unit to get it. So that came up at a store in Toronto, and I was like, great. Ran over and snatched it really quick.
How much was it?
I think it was like $1,100 kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, cool.
And it's great. It's so solid. You can bash the shit out of those, and they never go out of tune.
Oh no, they're awesome. And like that 335 too. It's just awesome. You hammer the living crap out of it, and it's great. Yeah, I took mine. Because mine was someone at the 335 I have, Yamaha one. Someone had installed like a Bixby on it at one time, and they took it off, and then they sort of put it back, and there were some holes, and they repainted the top a little bit.
Okay.
So I got this guitar for nothing, so I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sand it down and make it flat black.
Amazing. That's cool.
Because I don't really care, and it's fine, and it was cheap enough where it didn't matter, and so I just sanded it down, and so now it's a flat black guitar.
Those are the fine.
Which is totally cool,
right?
But it still rings like a motherfucker, and it's awesome.
Yeah, old damaged guitars that have been modded and are super cheap. That's the way to go.
Oh yeah, it's cool, super cool.
Very nice. Susie Cherry had a question.
Susie Cherry?
Yeah, we actually have a female in the house. I think.
Are you sure?
I think. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. Has anyone ever heard a Tone King amp? I saw some ads today. I was just wondering. Yeah, Tone King are great amps. They're actually made by Boutique Amps Distribution.
Who makes our amps?
Yep.
Tone Kings can be amazing. There's Tone King Imperial, very much like kind of a Fender Deluxe.
Right.
With another channel that is a little kind of more like of a grittier, sort of Englishy, whammy sort of little combo thing. That's cool. That's a cool amp. Super cool if you want the Fender Deluxe-y sort of thing, and this other thing that's like slightly crunchier and narrower or something, super cool amp. I at one point in time when they first started making them and took over that, I tested a bunch of them for them because no one else was there to do it at the time, and so I just tested a bunch, and I'm like, shit, I want this.
Yeah, they're nice. I actually I had never heard them until this last NAMM, and I heard some guys playing them at NAMM, and I was like, wow, those sound really, really good.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's very much like, the old school. I mean, there's twists on it, but it's like an old school Fender Deluxe. The Imperial, at least what I'm talking about, is kind of like an old school Fender Deluxe on one channel, and the other channel is sort of like that cranked up sort of WEM Dominator, almost sort of crunchy, more mid-focused thing.
Cool.
So super cool, super useful. I mean, awesome amps.
Pretty useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Mars, thanks for the super chat. I don't see a question associated with it, but if you have a question that you wanted to ask, let me know. But thank you for the super chat. John Sims, can you dial a Marshall 2203 master volume into a sounding like a 100 watt plexi, or is that impossible?
Yeah, sorta. I mean, in order to do that, you would just have to have the plexi cranking and that cranking, and you'd need an amp switcher, and you'd need to go between the two amps in real time, and you need to turn the knobs until you get it. But
Right.
yeah, you can get it close. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing because you have a master volume on the other amp, so with an extra gain stage. So so in reality, if you could take that plexi and sort of use an attenuator, at least a couple notches down, then put it into an amp switcher and then A/B it to the other amp, yeah, you might be able to get close. Sure.
Great sounding amps, anyways.
Everything I always do, like when you compare things like that, you need a blind test, and you need to do it in real time with an amp switcher, because inevitably, if you look at something you're switching between, you will say that, oh no, I like that one better.
Sure.
Well, yeah, until you do it blindly and try to guess, you can't look at anything. And the volume has to be exactly the same, otherwise you will guess the louder one.
Always.
Period. Always
Better.
guess the louder one. So,
It's so-
always. It's inevitable. I've done this test for people a million times. And it's like the only way to do it is blind test, amp switcher, volume matched, everything, and boom. Okay, which one is which? Oh, I like this one. Okay, that's not your amp.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I like that one. Okay, that time that's your amp. And then 5 times later, there's no common ground here. You can't guess.
Right.
No.
So.
Yep. Here's actually Stuart Rose. This is a good, and I don't know if this falls into the new amp category, but Stuart Rose said Delana's third power R&D is next level. She does great work for sure.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Josh Lamas says, Dave, I'm starting to replace my pedals with 80s rack units. I just bought a Roland SRV 2000 and I'm on the hunt for an SDE 3000. Do I use these units in the loop of my 5150 or do I use the preamp out?
No, you put them in the loop.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah. And those 2 units are awesome.
Yep. Yep. An amp should not cost more than $9.99. Okay, sure. SD design.
Well, that would be nice, but we'll have to make it in China.
Yeah.
Or some foreign country, because that's impossible in the U.S. Absolutely impossible.
Yeah. And then Susie Cherry says, no harm done, but please don't laugh at my name. Not laughing at your name. Just wasn't sure if you were male or female. Just scrolling down here for questions. Question for Dave. What would you suggest?
I hope you are a female, because it would be nice to see a female on the list here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually 99.9% males. So
Yes. So I'm into it. Great.
yeah, yeah. More females, the better. Abracus1 says, question for Dave. What would you suggest for a Jose Plexi amp? An older one, modded, or anything newer that's similar?
Well, I mean, if you want it completely traditional, I would have to make something for you. I mean, there's elements in our amps that are that, but it depends on what you're referring to exactly. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an old amp. We could do it on a newer amp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're referring to the Steve Vai amp that Pete Thorne did in the video, which you might be, we could do that to something, for sure. It depends on how exact you want it. I mean, it's a one trick pony. There's not a lot of it. It does one thing really well.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you watch that video?
I did. It sounds amazing.
It's aggressive.
Great.
And
feel like
bright. And bright. And like you guys don't understand. If you don't like bright, I don't know. Yeah, that's not the thing for you, because all those sounds were really bright, man. And it's like, and this is something you learn over the years, like recording and everything. It's like, if you sit in a room and listen to something, you will probably dial it way darker.
Yeah.
If you're dialing it in a mix or in a track, it will be way ass brighter. Way bright, unbelievably bright. And
right.
So I venture to say that amp might scare some people.
Mm-hmm.
Like frighten them. But then a bunch of people really love it. So, I can do it.
Okay. That's cool.
The BE mod has a lot of similarities to some of it. But it's sort of my take on that. So it's quite different. I've worked on a lot of them, though, so I know them really well. So there you go.
Okay.
Contact me if you want.
Stephen Douglas, we were actually talking or communicating back and forth earlier today on the Groom Noodlers forum about this question. So he asked, does the amperage of the output of the Variac matter when powering a 100-watt guitar amp? They usually come in 5, 10, 20, or 30 amps.
You only need the 500 VA one.
There you go.
I mean, if you're going to power more than one amp, you're going to need a bigger one. But most people aren't. So, I have one. I think I saw that on the Grim Noodlers forum, and they showed the picture of those Variacs with the digital readouts in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one sitting on my table next to me right here that I had just gotten, because that's the first time I had seen the digital readout Variacs, and I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yes. Yeah.
I can just dial in the voltage for exactly what I want. I can read it, and it's accurate and it's correct. The actual meter is correct. I checked it.
Right.
So literally I'm looking at it over there.
And what'd you get, a 5 amp?
Yeah, it's a 5 amps, fine. A 500 VA, yeah.
Okay.
For a 100-watt amp, that's fine.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the one that I got was 10 amps, but
yeah, that's fine. I mean, five's fine. I mean, 1,000 VA is just bigger.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you're not drawing that much. 5 amps will be fine.
How are you using them? Like, when you're using it, how are you dialing it in to find the exact sound?
Well, often At least in the U.S., voltage varies wildly. I don't know. I don't know if in Canada it's the same.
Oh, it's not.
Huh?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
It's all over the place, right? So your wall voltage is supposed to be 117, 120, something like that, right?
Yeah, but it goes like, because I used to travel with like a Furman thing that would tell me the voltage, and it would go anywhere from like 112 to like in the 130s ish.
Yeah, that's high is bad. So how do we use it? So with amplifiers, it's really nice. I think amplifiers, well, they're spec'd for 120, generally speaking.
New amps anyways, right?
Newer amps, yeah, correct. There's old amps that are spec'd for 110.
Yeah.
Because that was the old voltage that was normal in the U.S. and I do believe Canada at one point in time.
Yeah.
Since you're a sister country, sort of.
Yeah. Basically follow some shit.
So with amplifiers, they don't like over 120 really. I mean, what happens sonically, what happens is the amps just start sounding kind of brittle and kind of harsh in general. Mm-hmm. So you don't, over voltage is just bad. It's just awful. You know, and the opposite happens with lower voltage. So, you know, it's more browned out, it's softer, it's squishier, which can be cool. Totally cool, you know. So, if you can control that, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. So, like a Variac with a digital readout is awesome because now you can actually just see, it's, you know, and you can change it throughout the night even.
I see. Okay.
So, I personally like if you're not running a specific amp at a really low voltage for a specific reason, like, you know, the Van Halen thing, which would be run at 90 volts or something. If you're not doing that, you're just running your amps. I think your amps probably, you're going to like it more around 115 volts.
Okay.
Just a little under. Just a little bit under. It just is a little sweeter. It's a little nicer, and it's not so strained sounding. Yeah. You know, if your voltage is 126 or something, which some states are here, man, it just sounds kind of harsh. You know, it's like pushed, like strained is the word. Strained, like, you know, just like not great. So so you can decide what you like. I mean, maybe it's 117, maybe it's 115, maybe, you know, maybe the sweet spot is somewhere. I mean, you can go down probably lower than that, 110, you know. But it's a great way to control what you're getting. So, you know, say you have your 3 amps, right, that you use. You could put those on a larger Variac, and those are smaller amps. So that 1000 VA Variac, you put it on there, and you could just go, I love 117, man. That's just like the sweet spot. That's awesome. Or 115 or 114 or 13 or whatever you like.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or if you're like, it's too soggy sounding on stage tonight, you could turn it back up. Yeah. And you're just like going 120. Let's just go 120 because it give me more spank, you know?
Yeah, right.
So it's actually really useful. Like clients, like I have Steve Stevens uses a Variac on his amps. Mm-hmm. And he varies the voltage down a little bit. So it's, you know, like 117, 115, somewhere in there. And just because he likes, there's a little sweet spot in there that he likes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually really fun and useful.
And so with the ones that have the digital readout, you're just dialing it and playing until you find it.
You just literally just look at the digital readout and go, okay, yeah, well, it's supposed to be about 120. Okay. Dial it down to 117, 115. Okay. How does this sound? You got to wait for a second to the amp to just know, adjust. But yeah.
And so what are the brown box things?
Same idea. So brown box just lowers the voltage.
Okay.
The Variac, well, here's the thing. You can buy a Variac for $70 US.
So that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Or you can spend $300 and odd some dollars on the brown box.
And it's kind of the same thing anyway.
No, it's the same thing.
Okay, it is. Yeah.
And
You have more infinite control with the Variac.
I was going to say, you have more variability on the Variac than you do on the brown box. The brown box,
I mean, it's infinite. So you can
go
go up, you can go down, you can, the thing with the Variac too is you can, if your voltage is a little low, you can boost it.
Right. Okay, cool.
A bit too. So if, the voltage is running at 112 or something because the venue you're playing at is shit, and
sure,
you just go, I really want it at 117, so you can crank it up a few volts.
Yeah.
So you know what it is, and you can read it. It's a graphic display, and you can just go, boom, done.
I'd wondered about when those things came out, and I was seeing the price, and I was like, what's fishy? What's going on here? Like, what are they doing that's different than?
It has to be, it sort of has to be that price.
Yeah.
Because it's a rugged box with the switches and everything, and it's more rugged probably than the Chinese made Variac, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a great product. It's a great product.
Yeah, totally. I was just confused about what difference it was doing.
There is no difference.
Yeah.
Doing it's the same concept.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, you can buy 3 or 4 or 5 of the Variacs.
Yeah, if they break, you can have 4 more if in your bus.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't really break though. They're pretty reasonably rugged.
I was saying, what would happen to it?
You could drop it or something.
So when I just bought a new one, so I set up a workshop at home during all this pandemic, right? So I could work here, which is the room I'm in now. We got a desk and a work table, and you don't see this stuff, but there's some guitars on the wall, which you can't see. But it's a small room. It's a bedroom, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put all my vintage amps in it, which you can see a few.
Nice.
And then I'm going to bring my Vox and my high watt and my few other things I have home.
Awesome.
Just because they're fun to look at, and I want them here.
And you always need to at home.
I've always had a shop, so I never have brought stuff home.
Yeah.
So I was always playing stuff at work and things, and so it's actually kind of really nice to have it at home. Actually.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like a new fun thing for me to be able to have it. So I mean, I had another same light-colored blue Variac, the same brand, I think, that I've had for years. I mean, like 10, 12, 15, 20 years maybe, that is still working.
Mm-hmm.
Great, yeah.
So this is just as a instead of a little the old ones used to just have a needle, that would tell you, but it was really not very accurate. And so this has a digital readout, and the digital readout is like great. And I just saw these recently, and I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
great.
I'm gonna buy one also because I'm always checking.
I'm just like, I bought it, and then I checked it too to make sure it was accurate. And I'm like, yeah, within a volt or something, it's accurate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
So
that's good to know. Because I had a few friends with the brown boxes who were like really selling me on them, but I was like, I don't know for that kind of money.
Well, it's cool, but here's the problem though. So if you have a volt, the only problem with the brown box is you only can go down.
And it's in a percent.
Let's say you get in a situation where you have really low browned out voltage.
Yeah.
And you want to go up a few volts. You can't do that.
And it's only in steps of like 3 percentages or something.
Yeah, but you can kind of mess with the input voltage versus the output voltage a little bit. Right. So it's all kind of relative to each other.
Yeah.
But still, buy the Variac.
Yeah, it seems easier to just be able to go up or go down.
Yeah. I have the brown.
Cool. It's got a knob, just like boop, boop, done.
Yeah.
I've got the brown box also. I bought it because I thought that it could go lower.
It's cool.
It's cool. It's a cool product. It's sturdy as hell. It's built like a tank.
Super well made, super great product. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I don't want to. I'm not slagging it in any.
Yeah, no, it's a cool product.
Great product.
And you can get it at Sweetwater.
Yes, you can.
Eternalism says, Ian, do you prefer to use guitar speakers when possible rather than a cab sim?
Yeah, I've never.
Amps, baby.
Yeah, new stuff. It's never worked for me. I've tried because there's something amazing about like not having to lug a bunch of gear around, but I've just not had any luck with it. And maybe that's just I'm so used to playing with amps and have gigged so long, like gigged for almost a decade with them. But whatever, they just sound better.
Absolutely.
I think there's something to be said for air. Air is a real thing, and it's a part of a sound, and you can't emulate that shit.
No. Even with in-ears, you can still feel the air behind you, right? So you can still feel the amp.
It's insane. Yeah, I had we had some sound techs come out with us at one point who were like, you know, those little like red boxes that you can put in between, and they were trying to like sell me on those things, and it was just, it sounded crazy. It just doesn't sound the way that like your speakers sound.
No.
And also, I kind of like that it sounds different every night, and the speaker reacts different every night, and there's like a new thing with it. I don't know. It keeps it fresh.
There you go. Yeah. Some shows sound amazing, some don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, you know, at least like the amazing shows, you're like, awesome.
Oh, it's like the greatest feeling. And I
You know.
can't always tell what it is that's doing it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just the room, you know.
Yeah.
It's you know, you play in a great theater or something, and it's just like, God, there's magic to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, magic.
Can't be any more rock and roll.
No. Yeah.
Michael Nielsen in the house. What's up, Michael?
Michael, what's up?
Hey, guys, did you hear the new Ozzy album released a couple of months ago? Did it do anything for you? I heard it, and it was bad.
Oh, no.
I you know what? I'm not going to say it was necessarily horrible. I didn't hear the whole album, so
what? I heard the first 3 songs, and I was just like,
I'm not going to say it was horrible.
Right.
I don't think it's what you necessarily expected, but I don't think that it was too far off from what you expected either. Are other recent year Ozzy albums very good?
no.
I mean, like, what was the last one? I don't even remember what year that was, but I remember it kind of. It wasn't that great. Maybe these songs might have been better, actually. I mean, it was, I don't know. There's a couple cool videos from it.
Totally.
I just
I didn't hate it. I mean, I don't think it was. You know, it wasn't like this guitar virtuoso
that's
thing.
exactly what it was. I didn't like the
and
guitar.
like if you're take that off the equation and just look at it from a song standpoint, I mean, it wasn't horrible. I don't think. I mean, I thought it was catchy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking at it from the guitar virtuoso guy, you know, like it's not a Randy Rhoads playing, it's not a Zakk Wylde playing, it's not a Jakey Lee playing, it's not any of those people playing. Does it have to be? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you hear it,
Sure.
Ian?
What's that?
You heard some of it, right?
No, I haven't.
No, you didn't hear any of it?
No. I haven't listened to Ozzy for years.
There's a cool video. I mean, that video, the first video was cool. With what's his name? Son, Val Kilmer's son.
Okay.
Jack Kilmer, I think. Jack, is it?
Cool.
Could be wrong.
That's a rock name.
It was basically about his. The song was essentially about his downfall after Black Sabbath, when he was depressed and sitting there in a Hollywood hotel drinking himself to death.
Right.
And the video portrayed that.
That's cool.
You know, it was just a complete debaucherous video depicting him in the lowest of his low of his life.
I didn't see that.
And you didn't see that?
No. I'll have to
Yeah,
watch it.
that was the very first video and the very first song they did.
I should see it. Yeah, that sounds cool.
With Jack Kilmer, I think I'm pretty sure, and he did a great job of a young Ozzy, you know, like doing that.
Cool.
And supposedly that was the deal. So he had left, fired or whatever it was from Black Sabbath, and he was the lowest point in his life, and he was sitting in a hotel room in Hollywood, you know, just unbelievably abusing drugs and alcohol and women and whores and everything else. And this whole video depicts the whole thing. And then this is Sharon Osbourne coming and actually saving him.
Right.
This is when he met her. And the video sort of depicts the whole thing, and I think it was, I don't know.
That sounds cool.
I mean, it was telling the story. I think it was cool. You know,
I'll check it out. I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that was interesting. So
yeah, for sure. I didn't, you know, I don't think I've watched a music video since the last when George Lynch came out with Ultraphonics. I watched that video, but I haven't seen a new music video in a long time. If anything, I just download the album.
Someone said that the dog PA said Ozzy was in the balcony of the whiskey, starting speed like an animal. I saw it about 1979. Well, I think that was about the same era all this went down. You know, when he was in Hollywood,
right,
and just completely. I mean, the video depicts it straight up. You know, like it's just like snorting blow and just abusing drugs, abusing alcohol, and just like, I don't give a shit what happens to myself. You know, I don't care. He was to the point where it's just like fuck it all. You know, and that's essentially that was it. And then Sharon Osbourne came and saved his life, essentially. So.
Amazing.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
well, she said it, and they've talked about it. I've heard them on interviews.
Yeah. And from what I understand, that is the true story, and they did depict it in this video. Wow. And I have to say that Jack Kilmer did an amazing job at depicting a young Ozzy in this video. So
now I definitely got it.
It was cool. It was a cool video. You know, it was just, I don't know.
That's cool. Zach Zedris, Dave, I hear you have Sykes Jose modded amp. Is the 4-input 4-holder? The amp sounds incredible, but Sykes could play through anything. What are you doing to it, and how does it sound?
I can't say. I can't say. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Yes, maybe it's a 4-input. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
So let me ask you this, Ian.
Maybe a restoration piece.
Yeah.
Shall we say?
Amp archaeology.
Which is super fun. No, you know what? When I work on famous amps, I really fucking get into it because it's a bit of history. So it is like an archaeology dig, so to speak, you know, like sure. You're like, oh, what's going on with this amp? Okay. What's wrong with it? First off, how can I fix it? And how can I not change it? You know, Like, I don't want to change it in any way, shape or form. I just want to make it function again. So you have to be careful with that. Unless you're doing a full restoration, and then you know, like that was the Vi thing. That was a full restoration. So I love that stuff. That's fun. You know, it's like,
Sounds amazing.
wow, this recorded all these records. Awesome. I want to look at this.
So,
You know, why is this cool? Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's not so cool. Who knows?
So, what's some of your favorite tones, Ian? Guitar tones.
favorite tones? Oh shit, that's a hard question.
Probably all over the map.
Yeah, I mean, there's some amazing, like Lenny Barreau somehow always sounds insane to me. I have no idea what he's doing with his guitars, but they always sound amazing. It's always ultra clean, but it sounds so cool. Same with George Benson. I always thought he had a really cool sound. Such an interesting, like almost broken up. Like sometimes it screams a little bit, but never quite gets there. But it still always sounds really big and full and amazing.
Yeah.
And then Richie Blackmore, obviously. I don't know what that sound is. I had actually heard that he recorded through a tape machine.
Yeah, tape machine into the front of the amp.
Yeah. So using
the
that
tape machine is like a preamp almost.
Yeah. Which is amazing. That sounds cool to me. And I still think all the guitars on Machine Head sound insane. Johnny Winter on some of the early stuff is like so insane sounding. Like when he's playing those, I don't know what they call them. They're like those weird Gibsons that kind of look like a Strat almost, like an Esquire, I think they call it, or something like that. They're like super small little weird body with like sort of a Fender headstock. Do you guys know that guitar?
I think I know what you're talking about, kind of.
No.
It's such.
I have to look a picture up.
Yeah. That era of Johnny is amazing sounding. It's so aggressive and bright and brittle and amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very ugly, but
That's cool. Cool.
Well, what else? Like, I imagine there's some metal stuff too, right?
yeah, I mean, for metal, if I'm honest, half the time they all kind of sound the same, but there's some standouts. There's like everything Slayer does always sounds amazing and different than any other band. I can always tell when Slayer starts. I can always tell when Megadeth is about to play something, and Metallica. Those bands kind of have figured out different sounds, and then all the other bands that I really love, they all kind of are just doing the same shit.
What's your favorite era Metallica record?
Probably Ride the Lightning.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's like Ride the Lightning. I love
Ride the Lightning by far is the best record, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so aggressive and cool, and nobody has ever sounded like that or ever will. It's just its own thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's
I
ugly.
agree. That
The right
guitar
way.
tone and everything on there was just fucking brutal.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's like the Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
That shit is like amazing sounding. It's so gross. And
That's cool.
Yeah.
I had this weird period in my life when I was a young kid in the mid 80s or something when I went through this complete heavy dark metal fucking era. It was weird. It kind of went from like kind of more classic stuff to all of a sudden this dark metal. The more fucked up metal, the better.
Like Venom and that kind of shit.
Like almost like satanic metal at the time, you know, like. So there was all these bands at the time like Venom and Slayer and you know all that dark, you know, like thrash metal. I went through that stage for a while, and then I kind of came out the other end of that to like the more mainstream, like Van Halen kind of, you know, like stuff at the time. But there was the time that was like, yeah, Merciful Fate and Venom and like I can't remember all of them actually, to be honest. But the darker and the more screwed up it was, the more I liked it. You know,
It's so creative to be like
the
so
Merciful Fate thing was cool. Actually, it's still kind of cool.
Yeah,
I don't think,
You
I don't
know,
think I
he's
ever
still
listened to them.
around. They're still doing stuff. Jesus.
totally. It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's. I don't really listen to that kind of things these days, but I still have a fond appreciation for some of it
Oh,
because that was a stage in my life, you know.
yeah. One that just popped into my head is that like super early Death Angel.
Oh, okay, yeah,
When the Ultraviolence came out, that blew my mind, and I still think that's such a cool sounding song.
There was other weird bands at the time, you know, like so we're from a little bit different eras.
Sure.
So there was a band called Raven at the time too. I remember, which was these were like heavy like Krang magazine era bands that were. I can't remember even them all. I saw a lot of them in Detroit.
Mm.
Wow.
Man, I saw so many shows in Detroit. It was not even funny.
Yeah. Also, Death. That band has some of the crazy
Oh yeah,
sounding.
Death.
That's cool.
They came from Florida, I believe.
Yep.
So I had someone contact me, said I should make a metal amp that's 150 watts and it should be called Corpse. What do you think?
There you
Sounds
go.
I actually am very intrigued by this concept. I kind of want to make the metal amp called Corpse.
That's a really
He put it's called Corpse, a take on death. is the explanation for Corpse, and 150 watts, and he describes some more stuff, and I'm like, man, kind of want to do that.
That sounds insane.
I don't, just cause I want to do that, just because, you know, just brutal, you know, something brutal. That would be fun.
Absolutely.
More brutal than the Butter Slacks, huh? Wow.
Oh yeah. Way more brutal than that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Butter Slacks is a whole different amp. Butter Slacks is a little more if you mix like heavy metal with stoner rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think of that. You know, Bill. I mean, Mastodon is a cool band. You know, amazing band, and I sent. By the way, Mark, I sent Bill a message. I hope to get him on the show soon.
Cool.
Oh.
So that should be fun.
That'd be nice.
Definitely.
In fact, I know he'll do it. I know he'll do it. I sent him on Facebook the other day, and we'll see.
Okay. Cool. That'd be great to have him.
But yeah, but I mean, the Mastodon amp is not necessarily designed to be ultra
Brutal.
as what I would call percussive heavy. You know, so I could do a better take on that.
Corpse. So someone
Corpse.
Someone
I like it.
Yeah, they emailed you about that, or
Yeah. This guy from Australia.
that's so funny.
I'm like, he laid out the whole concept. And the thing that sold me was not Corpse, but the second thing in parentheses, a take on death.
Yeah.
And that just killed it for me. I was like going, now that is marketable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of thing it is. It should be like just brutal.
Right.
How brutal can you make it? That's the thing. Make it brutal.
Sounds like it'll sell.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, maybe not. You know, the thing is with the metal guys is like there's not a lot of money always there. So I mean,
That's true.
that's rough. That's just the economic.
Yeah. There's not a lot of money in music in general. And then,
There's not a lot of money in music in general, absolutely, but
and then
at least
Even now, more so.
you know, I mean, at least previous to the current situation, you could maybe eke out a living.
For sure. I mean, it's
meaning you're not going to be a rich musician, but you're going to be a at least paid musician, you know?
But it's crazy seeing like bands like Dillinger Escape Plan being like, yeah, we have to quit touring because we can't afford to do it anymore, and they're at the top of the game.
Yeah, but I think ultimately correct
In a niche market.
And Kevin, who was playing in Dillinger at the end, is a friend of mine. So I think, well, here's what it comes down to. It's like, how much money do you want to make and how much money can you make? So,
totally.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to get rich.
No, you can do it.
Unless they're a massive pop artist, maybe you can still get rich off that. Maybe.
Yeah.
But no one's going to get rich. Can they make a living? Probably make a living.
For
maybe.
Sure. I think a lot.
I mean, you're making a living, right?
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah. I mean, right now it's still working.
Yeah.
It's probably a bit rough, but it's like
you were making at least a living that you could survive on and be a musician, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
100%.
So, you're not rich, but you could at least pay your bills.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the reality, unfortunately, of the music industry today, is that you can pay your bills.
Yeah.
I don't know where it sits at the moment. I don't know if that's the case at the moment.
Well, a lot of people. A lot of people.
Hopefully that we'll get past this. Hopefully this will be a year of our time where it's, this horrible thing, and suffer through a year of this, and we can get past that hopefully with a vaccine or something in the end. I mean, hopefully that's...
Yeah, I think it'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
Somehow, I think people are going to figure out how to make money, though.
Yeah.
And the people that think outside the box are the people that are going to be the people that spearhead this movement. So I think with you guys even thinking about doing these drive-in stuff and things like that, you're thinking outside the box. You're thinking with what you have to deal with. Sure. And how can we make this work?
Yeah.
It might not be what we're used to. It might not be the same amount of money we're used to, but it's some money and it will keep us alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that is a huge, huge thing. I think everyone at this point in time, it's like, it's not going to be the same right now.
Yeah.
What can you do to make it work?
Absolutely.
You're going to have to make some changes maybe, but
yeah. And there might be a lot
you might have to give up your car. You might have to give up something. You might have to give up your lease. You might have to do something. Mm-hmm. But, how can you make it work?
Yeah. It is possible.
It is possible. Yeah. You can do it. You can do it. I mean,
not to say it's not hard though.
Yeah. I'm not saying that everyone can do it either though, because obviously there's so many people out there that are, and I feel so horrible for them, that are really out of work and destitute because they worked at a restaurant and all the only money that they made was from their tips and all this, and they made a good living from their tips.
Amazing
living. But now there's nothing.
Yeah.
So
the whole hospitality industry is
well, the whole entertainment industry in general is fucked.
Yeah.
So lighting companies, sound companies, bands, people that do conventions, people that do the whole thing is unbelievably screwed.
Yeah. Your sound techs, everybody.
Guitar techs that I know are fucked. I mean,
Yeah, it's just
they're fucked. If they're lucky, I mean, I know a friend of mine that works for Guns N' Roses and stuff, and he has some work that he's doing for them in the off time, so to speak.
Yeah.
But that's not all of them. It's just him.
right.
Yeah, totally.
And that's for a top giant band.
And it's just him, and
Right.
it's not like all the time either. It's like
Yeah.
a week here, a week there, just something.
Yeah, it sucks.
So I don't know, it should be interesting. I think that the people that you might start seeing a lot of underground stuff coming out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really cool that way.
I mean, my friend Dave in Detroit, who turned me on to you guys, said, he goes, yeah, man, it might be like the old days in the early '90s when they're doing these warehouse shows that are just like literally not licensed in any way, shape, or form, and the band's playing, and and it's just underground.
Sounds
And
kind of
still playing it. They're still making some money off the show for people that are coming in, but it's like not licensed, not in a venue that's licensed. Nothing about it is licensed, and it's on the the DL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, he might be right about that.
Oh no, that will happen because people get desperate, and people are going to get desperate for money, and they will do whatever they can to make the money.
Yep. Outside of the normal route.
If you're a band and you're just like, hey, we're going to put on a show. It's $10 a head, and we're going to do it here. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Like 100 and 200 and 300 people show up. Okay, well, that's $3,000 they just made. That's money that they didn't have before.
For sure. And that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
It sounds fun, actually, because it's like the people go for the real meaning of music, not just for the corporate,
Yeah.
corporate thing.
Totally.
We got a cool
That's the real deal. That's Detroit style.
Right. Yeah. That's cool.
A lot of that shit went on in the garage rock days, when first and like White Stripes were coming up and stuff, and literally like abandoned buildings where they threw on a show.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, good luck, don't trip over that shit, and we have no insurance. Good luck.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Abraxas1 says, it seems that certain rack effects can't be beat in terms of sound. You've been talking about that, Dave, for a while. To what degree does their high voltage play in having superior tone, similar to higher voltage OD pedals having more headroom?
It has nothing to do with that. It's like full-size components, not surface mount. Superior audio path, and just better overall audio design.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
We got some King Diamond, Exodus, Napalm Death, Morbid Angel, Accept. People are throwing...
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Those are all great bands.
Yeah. Throwing out all those big bands. Let's see. I'm just going through the questions here. I hate when like you go through the chat and the chat just moves, like all of a sudden. It's like, where the hell?
Is this like on YouTube? That's where the chat is?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, are you guys where you're at right now? Are you on lockdown? Are things locked down? Are you still? Are places open?
Yeah, it's like it's not like a full lockdown. It's like social distancing. So you're kind of isolated to your own homes as much as like possible. And then when you do go out, you're supposed to be 2 meters or whatever, 6 feet away from people. So it's not like a entire lockdown, but no businesses are really open except for liquor stores and grocery stores. That's pretty much it at this point. But I think that's about to open up. I think like next week, actually, that every business is basically going to be able to open up with restrictions.
Okay,
So
that's good.
yeah, like whatever, 10 people in the store at a time, that kind of thing.
Yeah. They're starting to do the same thing here. BMO gave us a super chat. Thank you, and he said, I'm a share." Okay.
Whatever that means.
Share the link. What if that's what it means?
Thank you.
Yeah, but thank you. I appreciate it. Yikes! Past my bedtime. I need to dig deep. Let's see. Yeah, every actor in LA shut down. And Michael Nielsen says.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's
that. You know what? Here's the thing. That shit is not going to last that long. The LA, I can't see that lasting very long because the LA entertainment industry with the movies and the shows and everything are just so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh hell no, it's just not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to go on that long.
I can't see how. Yeah, I mean,
I can't see how they will let it, regardless of whether it's a good idea or not.
Totally different conversation.
I can't see how that will. Yeah, I just can't see how that'll happen. Yeah. Most productions will start again in the near future, with social distancing guidelines, of course.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, interesting. BV Ninja advice. Mark, when you create the live event, you can engage slow-mo for the chat so it does not do that. Interesting.
Oh, really?
Had no idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm such a dinosaur when it comes to this shit. I mean, I need people to give me advice on how to do this stuff. So hopefully you guys like the new format, the way that we have the picture set up here. Curious what you guys think of that, as opposed to the way we had it before. So let us know. Sweetwater is a pain to order from now. No one there, Paul Torbert. Well, I mean, you got to cut them some slack. Cut anybody some slack right now.
Is there really no one there? I mean, come on, really?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are working from home from Sweetwater right now. The sales people are working from home, or at least they were. But you should be able to reach somebody and just cut them some slack. Cut any business some slack right now.
Yeah. Everything's going to be a bit slower.
Yeah.
It's not the end of
I mean, I ordered an acoustic guitar, and the company, Taylor is offering a deal. I got a 12-string.
Yeah.
And Taylor has a deal where if you buy a certain guitar for $99 extra, you get a baby Taylor.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, awesome. But the guy, the shop wrote me and said, hey, Taylor's on back order because of the shutdown, and we don't have any baby Taylors right now. Can we just owe it to you when we get the guitar in? We'll ship it to you. I was like, sure. Whenever you get it. I'm not going to bust their chops about it. I mean, I know, but
you can't bust anyone's chops right now. Give me a break. I mean,
know.
Come on, man. I mean, even like people send me repair. Well, in this shutdown, I've taken a lot of repairs personally to my house. Right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm doing certain amp repairs that normally are done at the factory at my house by me. And, it's a little slower than normal because it's just me. It's just me. So it's like at one point in time, I had 14 boxes stacked up in my living room.
Right.
That right inside the front door, literally 14 boxes. I mean, now I'm down to 3 or 4, but But the 14 boxes, at one point in time, I'm like, shit, I better get to this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And knock some of this stuff out because, but it's everything slower. So don't anticipate anything operating on the same time frame it used to. I mean, if you go to Amazon now, you used to get stuff in one day, right? With Prime,
everything's slow
right
down.
here. You used to get one day. Guess what? Now it's like 3 or 4, or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For what you're ordering, you know. So
Or a month,
and you know,
or a month. Yeah.
as we always joke, you know, there'll be Prime everything in the future, you know. So
Yeah.
it'll be like, welcome to your Prime world, you know. With your Prime blah 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 and your Prime this and Prime that. I don't even know if Amazon is the same way in Canada. So
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I figured it is because it's everywhere, you know. So I'm thinking to myself the other day, I'm like going, so if the U.S. mail postal service goes out of business, will there now be Prime Mail?
For sure.
There will be.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, Prime already owns, you know, Whole Foods here, and my daughter works for Whole Foods, and my daughter now does the Prime pickups. So if you place an order for your food, you can select your store. You can place all your food orders, and literally they'll bring it to your car and drop it in your trunk.
Oh wow.
So which is fantastic because you don't have to go inside.
Right. Amazing.
So I mean, and that's cool. I mean, at first I couldn't even get that because I was like, how do you do this? And you had to sign up for it, and eventually now it's fine. You can do it. I'm like, that'd be great. I can just place the order, and you can put it in your trunk.
Yeah. My only problem with that is when you have someone else picking out your food. You know, sometimes they don't pick the right shit. But if you're dealing with Whole Foods, I mean, like everything's fine. Yeah, that's true.
And expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
Actually, it's come down in price, but it's still come down in price, but it's fine. But I can she said I can figure it out so I can cherry pick. So she picks everything.
Amazing.
So I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
For sure.
Because I don't really want to go to the store right now.
No.
If I can avoid it, I don't really want to go. I mean, I don't feel overly safe at the store.
No.
I mean, it's relatively okay because I choose stores that are relatively unpopulated. But I don't know, man.
Right now, I'm taking.
I'd rather have it pick it up and have them drop it in my trunk.
No doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
And I know how I feel. I don't know about you guys, but
I will go to the liquor store though. It's way less populated.
Right. I think it's probably more populated now than ever.
Actually, I find the liquor store has more stuff than the store. So, like when I first started, the funny thing is when this first happened, and no one here in the U.S. had like toilet paper or shit, you know, nothing. I went to the liquor store to buy something, and I'm like, oh look, they have paper towels and toilet paper.
Really?
Right.
I could just buy it here. You know, and I mean, and single rolls or something, but still, like if you're really in a pinch, you know, okay, yeah, I'll buy it here. You know, it's fine. And there's all of 2 other people in the store. Okay, that's fine too, because there's not any people in here.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I talked to the lady at the store. It's a normal store I go to. It's kind of a specialty kind of liquor store. And she goes, "Oh my God, business." I go, "Your business is like through the roof, isn't it?" She goes, "Yeah. Not only are we having online orders picked up constantly all day, but we have our normal traffic that hasn't really changed.
Wow.
So our business has doubled.
Yeah,
just because everyone's home and drinking."
Yeah. That's what I'm doing right now.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
I talked to a friend of mine is Justin Derrico. He plays on The Voice, and he plays with Pink, guitar player with Pink. And he texted me and he's like, "Yeah, man, everything's." I had to repair something for him or something. "Yeah, everything's great. Everything's fine." He goes, "I just can't stop drinking." He goes, "If it gets to be 3:00, I feel like I've failed." I'm like going, "Oh God."
That's funny. Yeah, it's. I mean, I know a lot of people who are wondering, like, once the quarantine's over, am I going to be an alcoholic?
I mean, I was a little more like that at the beginning of it, and then now it's just like, nah. I'm like, yeah, no, fuck it, no, water.
Yeah, there's only so much you can take.
It's like I bought something nice tonight, but I haven't had anything else for like a week or something. So,
right.
Yeah, I know better. When your body starts feeling like crap, you're like, okay, yeah, stop.
Yeah, totally.
Drink water. You're okay, and then next week maybe have some.
I also find it's such a social thing that it's like I don't find myself alone being like, okay, time to drink a million beers. Like,
do you have a wife or anything no? Or just
no
alone?
Have a girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah. So.
But yeah. You're not out socializing, right? So you're just like, yeah. But then again, sitting at home, sometimes you're just like, yeah, let's get some cocktails.
Yeah.
You're passing the time, so you're like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then that gets a slippery slope, and then you're like, shit, I should stop.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we'll need to get Justin on the show.
Yeah. I'll get Justin, sure.
Yeah, because Michael Neeson said Justin is a monster guitar player. Sheesh.
Oh, yeah. He's amazing. He's a great guitar player.
Yeah.
Fucking ripping.
That's cool.
Have you ever seen... You haven't happened to ever see him Pink show, have you?
Unfortunately not. I heard it's like they show on land.
Well, she's amazing.
Dude,
yeah.
I went originally because Justin's been a client of mine forever, and but the performances she puts on are beyond just unbelievable. I mean, like the acrobatics and the flying and the everything that goes on with her shows are insane, and it's completely enjoyable even if you don't like the kind of pop music she makes. You are like completely enamored with the entire spectacle of the show. There's a video though of that, not the last tour, but the tour before that. There's a video out of a DVD or something of the one.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out because she's great. She's just super talented.
It's unbelievable, man. I mean, like, and the other thing that Justin told me is like, yeah, all the vocals are real.
Yeah.
So
insane.
When she's hanging upside down from a ribbon in the top of the arena and all this stuff, it's live vocal. And and you actually hear it because she'll go up and she'll just deliberately take a breath, and she's up there, like where you hear it, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
She's
Like,
a beast. She's a beast.
She's a beast. Yeah, that's the real deal, man.
Yeah, she's a tough chick too, man. She really.
Yeah, this is the real deal, man. I saw the last 2 tours that she did, and they were unbelievable to watch. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
and they rock the guitar up too, man. It's like
super cool.
That's cool. Awesome. So maybe we should wrap up a little bit because it's getting late for me.
Probably.
Yeah. But Ian, could you tell us where to reach your band, where to get your stuff and see your
Yeah. Every streaming platform should be on there. Just search July Talk. The website is julytalk.com. But yeah, should be on YouTube, should be on Spotify, Apple, every.
July Talks on Facebook also.
Yeah.
You're not.
No, I'm not. Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff.
You're a smart man not for being on Facebook.
Ian's on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, I have Instagram and I have a Twitter account with like nobody on it just to like look at the news.
There you go.
There you go. That's cool. Yeah, check out July Talk. Look up.
Might be helpful if maybe you were on Facebook also. I understand why not. I get it. But July Talk's heavy on Facebook also.
Yeah, they are for sure.
Videos and everything. So
it's all on there.
There's a certain I don't know.
Oh yeah. I mean,
pollination.
On it for years, but it was nice to get off of a lot of that stuff.
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you either.
I don't blame you. So we got a bunch of shows coming up. We're booked until July, which is cool. We've got Peter Stroud from Sheryl Crow's band coming on May 29th. And then June 12th, we've got Brett Papa. If you guys know him, he's got his own channel on YouTube. Then we've got Tim Pierce and Pete Thorne together coming on June 26th. So Tim and Pete. And then July 10th, we've got Jordan Ziff from Rat and Marty Friedman coming on.
And more to come.
Exactly. And then, guys, check out Sweetwater.com, please. Go to Sweetwater.com. I will put the link below where you guys can use that to purchase stuff. Hit the subscribe button, please, and hit the bell for notifications. And, we got a super chat right at the last minute. Getting that super chat at the last minute. Let's see.
Waterford Giants.
What did he say?
He didn't say anything. Thank you.
No question. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Again, check out July Talk, Ian's band.
Check it out because the amazing videos. Just go on YouTube and search July Talk and you'll see unbelievable stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on this, too.
Yeah, man. It was fun, man.
Yeah, it was awesome to have you on, Ian. And just wait. I don't want people to think that I said Marty Friedman was coming on. Jordan Ziff of Marty Friedman. He plays with Marty Friedman. So I'd like to get Marty Friedman on, but no, Marty's not coming on. It's Jordan Ziff who plays for him. So just to clarify, guys. Thanks for watching the show. You guys have a great weekend. Ian, hang on for a second while we finish up. And really appreciate it. You guys have a great time. Take care.
Awesome.
Be well.